Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson just don't get a night off. Not this night, anyway. The rock and rolls are all over this place. It's Mid-South. It's 1984. It's the 17th of May. And it's not really all that good. Well, it's got a lot of thrills and spills, folks. Including, well, Joel Watts, who is being trialled, I suppose, because he's done a lot of the video stuff, as the colour commentator with either Jim Ross or Boyd Pierce. Now, Joel Watts, clues in the surname, Jim Watts' son, and Boyd Pierce in a lovely, fetching tangerine jacket, tie, and waistcoat set. I'm not quite sure what the colour of the slacks were, because he's behind a desk. He's your main announcer this week, but as he's telling us, get behind Joel. He's the coming man. Listen to what he has to say. He makes Joel look a bit foolish. If you have to say, listen to what he has to say. Come on, everybody, get behind him. If you're telling us to do it, we're not doing it of our own volition, are we? That could tell you something. I mean, Joel's all right. He just doesn't have a hook. He's probably too nice. Boyd knows what he's doing. JR knows what he's doing, but although Joel gets excited, very excited at times, I just don't feel that he's got the charisma that's needed. I'll tell you who has got charisma, though. That segue, Steve. I know. James E. Cornette. Jimmy Boy Cornette, who has put $50,000 of his mother's money up to have his Midnight Express take on the Rock and Roll Express, the tag team champs, next week. This week they'll have the signing. Let me tell you how the Rock and Roll Express won those tag team belts. They cheated. Yes, they did. Because what they did was, they signed, or rather, the Midnight Express signed on a few weeks ago to face anybody, barring a small smattering, small smattering, a bit tautological, you don't need the word small, a smattering of tag teams, one of which was the Rock and Roll Express. So, no Rock and Roll Express, okay? Let's keep that in mind. No Rock and Roll Express. Now, they then faced a masked tag team, and they lost. I think it was before they lost that the Rock and Roll Express unmasked themselves and won the belt. But you wouldn't have signed a contract as the Rock and Roll Express, because the Midnight Express and James E. Cornette would not have agreed it. So the Rock and Roll Express can't have won the titles because they didn't sign the contract as the Rock and Roll Express. As well as that, it appears that they stole the outfits from Mr. Wrestling and Mr. Wrestling 2. So not only are they cheats to get the titles, they're thieves as well. Doesn't seem to matter because the fans love them, and you got the super date at the Superdome coming up. Yep, it's a competition to have dinner and a date for two women with the Rock and Roll Express. You've got to be married. You can't be married, that's right. I always got it wrong then. All those people who are married and want to have an affair, come to... No, it's not like that. It's over 18 and not married. In fact, actually, I don't think they mentioned over 18 this time. Maybe it must be over 18 and not married. Anyway, we've got the $50,000 Jim Cornette and the Rock and Roll Express contract signing. There's a table. It's really low, folks. There's no chairs, so everybody has to stand up. Everyone has to bend down really quite low to get to what's almost a coffee table. And there are 3 copies of each of these contracts. Why, I do not know. There don't need to be 3, do there? So you've got James E. Cornette signing. You've got Grizzly Smith, the booker, signing. You've got Robert Gibson signing. And you've got Ricky Morton signing. They each have to sign 3 of these things. JR doesn't half have to fill. I mean, this is more like, it's like 10 minutes of the 44 minutes programme. And as Boyd Pierce says, we took a long time on it, but it was really important. No, you don't need 3. Why do you need 3 copies? You could sign those later, couldn't you? Just sign the 1 copy and ask for them to sit down. Anyway, oh, by the way, we go back, and although Boyd Pierce said, get behind this man, he's the coming man, he's really important, he knows his stuff, he doesn't let Joel Watts speak at all in that segment. The first match we get is Jerry Gray, who we know is a bit of a jobber in Mid-South at this time, versus Mark Ragin, who has had, after this, I mean, he was around quite a lot of territories at this time in this year, and then less territories the following year, but the WWF, then not so many territories, and then came back to do the WWF, and then no territories, and then back to the WWF. And what he's got here is, well, if I tell you that he arrives to Thriller, and then while the match is actually taking place, it seems, or prevarication is taking place, you've got dum 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 dum, oh, ding 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 ding, she did, her name was Billie Jean, and good Jean. Joel has to tell us it's Billie Jean, because I don't think Boyd would have realised that, maybe. But really, what Mark Ragin is doing is just he's doing a Michael Jackson act. He's not really a wrestler. Well, he is, because he can wrestle, but for the first maybe 5 minutes of this match, Jerry's trying to get him to do some wrestling, and all he's doing is dance moves. It's a bit weird. It's a bit strange. While he's doing the dance moves, he smacks Jerry Gray down to the mat with a shot. But apparently the fans are mesmerised. I don't think they are. I mean, so there's some women at the front who are quite interested, but I think they're mesmerised. They're thinking, is it supposed to be wrestling or what? Eventually, it gets going. And Jerry Gray smacks him down a bit, hip tosses him, but Mark Ragin comes back with a hip toss of his own and a head scissors takedown, which is nice. We're going to see that move again, folks, later on. It's a big move to see twice in 44 minutes of action. And then we get a high cross body from Ragin for the pin. It was too short, and we could have done without that blooming dancing. Right, the Rock and Roll Express versus Buddy Landel and Masao Ito. Now, this is the problem, you see. If you've got a contract signing, and it's next week for this $50,000 match, and it's for the championships, and if the Rock and Rolls win, they keep their championships and $50,000 of Mama Cornette's money, but if they don't win, they don't get the $50,000 and they lose their titles. Don't have them fighting this week, because if you do that, it's got to be non-title. And people like me wonder why you're bothering. They're facing Buddy Landel and Masao Ito, and Masao Ito and Buddy Landel must be thinking, well, why are we bothering? Because actually, the titles aren't at stake, are they? I suppose if they beat them, they go up the ladder. But anyway, there's mat work. Morton gets a hip toss and a drop kick. Gibson gets a head scissors, takedown. Yeah, we've seen that before, haven't we? And then Ito comes in, and basically all he does is aim a kick to, I think it's Robert Gibson's torso, called a karate kick. It's a basic kick. It's not a karate kick. If that was a karate kick, then I would have been a grandmaster by now. Let me tell you that. There's a double drop kick, of course, from the Rock and Rolls for the pin, and it's really boring. As soon as they leave, in comes Mr. Wrestling and Mr. Wrestling 2 saying, we want a title match. They want to call in the Rock and Rolls for a title match. The Rock and Rolls are on their way out, and they say, or on their way back to the locker room. And what Robert Gibson or Ricky Morton says is, well, you sign on the dotted line and we'll face you. We just wrestled, so we're going back. It does make them look a little bit foolish. Then, to add insult to injury, Mr. Wrestling and Mr. Wrestling 2 grab the sequined waistcoats of the Rock and Rolls and rip them up. And the Rock and Rolls come in and run them off. And much ado about 2 sequined waistcoats. So, Magnum TA is facing Mr. Wrestling 2, the Rock and Rolls don't get involved in this match. They will at the end, because there's lots of run-ins for them. They're really heavily involved this week, but not during the match. It's not as if they think, he ripped up my favourite sequined waistcoat. Tell you what, Robert, Yeah, Ricky, let's go and get him. So anyway, Mr. Wrestling is at ringside, which would be perfect, wouldn't it? But anyway, they let Magnum TA get beaten up. So there is a leg drop from Magnum, but Mr. Wrestling 2 comes up with a suplex, a one-armed suplex, a slam, an elbow drop, a bear hug, which is sold nicely by Magnum TA. They do the 3-arm drop spot. He's still in it, folks. Sudden belly to belly, suplex. Mr. Wrestling gets on the apron. Of course, they have previous, don't they? He and Magnum TA. Magnum smacks him one, and then Mr. Wrestling 2 gets an object, which I can't see what it is. No one really tells me what it is. Can't see what it is at all. He smacks Magnum with it, and in come the rock and rolls. Right. Steve Williams versus Nikolai Volkoff. It's the USA versus Russia, folks. Yeah. You know that Steve Williams has the medal. He took Terry Taylor's spot last week when it was Terry Taylor facing Khrushchev, who is the TV champion with that medal. He's facing him, didn't win. Williams comes in, takes the medal, and Terry Taylor seems not to be bothered by that. So not only have you got, he's got the medal, and apparently he's proudly wearing that medal that he stole last week. If you want to get Mr. Williams over as a good guy, and USA, then don't tell us he stole the medal last week. Plus, Nikolai Volkoff, who gets to sing the Russian national anthem, of course. That's the WWF version. Different version here in the Mid-South. Anyway, not only did he steal the medal, but actually Nikolai Volkoff didn't win it. And they're acting as if Volkoff won it. Khrushchev will be in later on versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan, or Duggan, if you want to call him that. I know Jim Watts does. Then he won it. He's in later on. They don't mention he is the TV champion. To all intents and purposes, it sounds like they have decided to make Nikolai Volkoff the TV champion. It's weird. It's as if they've forgotten who the TV champion is. Well, let's just say it's Nikolai Volkoff. Did we say? It's as if they've done the show and they're saying, did we say throughout that telecast that Nikolai Volkoff was the champion? No, we wouldn't do something as silly as that. Oh, okay. Anyway, this match is not great. Volkoff starts before the bell. He stomps. There's a pile driver from Volkoff, which Williams sells, but immediately puts his foot on the ropes. You know, he's not too bothered by it. Probably best to wait a few seconds before you do that. Then Volkoff hits a standing swanton. It's kind of like a cannonball, but it's bloody lovely. Tries it again and misses it. Williams comes back with a really poor clothesline, and that 3-point stance thing. Then the Oklahoma Stampede, which is a running power slam, and Joel is so excited by that pin, he's virtually out of his seat, probably. Can't see him, but I can bloody well hear him. Like nails down a blackboard, or a chalkboard, if you like. Now, Terry Taylor is facing the Shadow. Shadow is smaller than I thought. He was on last week, from parts unknown. He's masked, and there's an instant first press from Terry Taylor before the match really gets going. So he's really given us a lot of energy, and then they start to regard each other and square up. A bit weird. There's a Shadow head scissors. He lets him out, which is even weirder, and a punch on the blind side of the referee, but the ref really saw. That's Carl Fergie. Then the abdominal stretch. Oh dear, from Terry Taylor. I do like the way that the Shadow dances a bit after, not like ding 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 ding, not that, but he dances a bit after an atomic drop. And then there's that awful forearm that Terry Taylor did at this time for the pin. It was really poor. And so was Duggan versus Khrushchev. Khrushchev did attack him earlier, threw him into the ring post, because the action spills to the outside. Duggan's got no beard at this time because, of course, Volkoff and Butch Reed have shaved him. And there's that thing that's called a spear that Duggan does. Basically, it comes off the ropes and just runs into somebody. It's not a spear. There's no spear. If that's a spear, then the spear is lifted in the air and has hit you. not with the pointed end, but with the shaft. Nobody wants to get hit with the shaft. So Volkoff and Reed are then in. They squirt something on Duggan's hair, and the rock and rolls are in, and Steve Williams is in, and the rock and rolls are probably thinking, could do with a bit of calm now. I've been in 3 times in the ring and wrestled. Anyway, Terry Taylor's in there as well, and Duggan's walking around with his hair spiked up because what has been squirted on his hair is shaving cream. Now, I'm not a tonsorial specialist or anything like that, but these 3 heels, did they think they were going to have the time to put squirting shaving foam on Duggan's hair and then shave it with some kind of, I presume, cutthroat razor? Did he think that people in the back were going to wait until they got a really nice bald shine and then come out? No, of course not. But it does make for good TV, because you can really see it, and Duggan's got a load of hair. He had less hair when he was in the WWF, but here he looks like Hercules Hernandez before Hernandez had that kind of cut job as well. So, Mid-South this week, it's blooming terrible. As I say, every time I watch this from this period, I'm bloody loving it. Because it does not half get the events in, and it isn't half frenetic. Plus, you've got Rock and Rolls, Midnight Express, Magnum TA, Terry Taylor on top. The women love it. The wrestling needs to be better. Ta-ta.